These same few body clock genes seem to be present in all plants and animals, and this suggests they must be one of life's most fundamental building blocks. For me, I find it absolutely astounding that the biological clocks ticking away in my body are about the same as those of the grunion. Imagine, it's in the birds, in cows, flies, plants too, even bacteria. We all share the same biological mechanisms for time. So the rhythm of our daily lives comes from within us. Our fundamental experience of time turns out to be internal, written into the DNA of every single cell of our bodies. But in the past couple of 100 years, that's all changed. The rule of nature has been replaced by the rule of machines. Industry, global travel, and electric lights have created a brave new world in which we control the length of our days. We're no longer at the whim of nature. Technology has allowed us to create our own time, but at a faster pace. Time for us has become an external pressure, a force created by the demand for speed and punctuality, all marked by the mechanical ticking of the clock. Historian Stephen Kern calls it public time.
The great development is the increasing sense of public time. People's lives become much more punctual, much more temporally regimented, and almost dominated.
Public time really took off with the Industrial Revolution. Workers were driven by the relentless beat of factory machines. All of a sudden, time was money.
Time became very dominant in the workplace following the work of Frederick Winslow Taylor, who in 1881 began his scientific management studies. He observed an expert brickmaker, broke down every motion into efficient units, reconstructed them, timed them so that each unit of production had a specific time that had to be satisfied, and then imposed that model on all other workers.
With the rise of new high-speed technologies, public time began to move into all aspects of life. But there was one world-shattering event that changed everything. World War I. The huge numbers of people involved required unprecedented coordination in time.
If one platoon popped up a little bit early, they would be cannon fodder. So it had to be coordinated very, very precisely. To effect this, headquarters sent out watches synchronized at headquarters so that everyone had a watch running at the exact same time. The watch was really a part of their weaponry, in a sense. They had to be there at the exact same time. Prior to this war, wearing a wristwatch was thought to be feminine. During the war, it was a matter of life and death.
The Great War was a turning point. Now everyone carried time pressure on the end of an arm. Today, clocks are everywhere. They rule our every moment, marking the passage of every second. The pace of life seems to be accelerating faster and faster. Constantly aware of the ticking of time, speed has become crucial to everything we do. I remember when FedEx first introduced the overnight delivery system. People laughed. People said, why would anyone want something like that? Nowadays, that's indispensable. Everyone wants their packages delivered tomorrow. So I would imagine that our pace of living today would be absolutely terrifying to someone just 100 years ago. Now, from dawn to dusk, we are driven by time, by what feels like an external force relentlessly ticking off the seconds and minutes of our lives. But could even our sense of the march of time ultimately come from inside of us? Our ability to sense time passing is extraordinary.
Oh my God, look at you got the jacket on and everyone, oh, come on, put it up, come on, put it up, put it up. Immediately intimidating, that's amazing. I would be hiding my iPod earphones immediately.
It's so subtle that we usually don't even notice it, but we're constantly timing things. The wait at traffic lights, the boiling of the kettle, even the pause before a punchline.
Hello. You can probably guess from my accent, I'm a lesbian.
I say, what is the secret of good comedy?
I don't know. What is the secret?
Timing. We always say that we've got 3 chances to time a joke right.
Brian Luff runs classes in comic timing.
I think it's incredibly precise. I think you could probably measure it in nanoseconds. I mean, I know that sounds over-scientific, but I think the difference between getting a joke right and getting it wrong is minuscule.
Brian's approach is exacting.
Time versus funny. There's funny, there's time. Now, what we're looking for in, say, a 3-minute sketch is for the funny to escalate at exactly the right speed. You can say the line too early, you can say it too late, but you've only got one chance to say it right. So the odds are stacked against you right from the word go when you're actually talking about placing a punchline in just the right place.
Aaron is new to stand-up comedy and is learning to get his comic timing right.
Got any agoraphobics here today? No? That's all right then. Went out with an agoraphobic once. Well, I say out.
Tonight, Aaron will be performing his repertoire of jokes for the very first time in front of a real audience.
I think Aaron's act tonight will stand or fall on his timing. I think a lot of his material is very timing-based, and I think if Aaron is relaxed enough to actually just let time pass while he's on stage and not hammer through it, but let the audience relax, listen to what he's saying, then I think he'll do very well.
Please put your hands together and welcome all the way to the stage to Mr. Aaron Wright.
Good evening. Well, I remember saying to you once...
If Aaron's going to succeed, every pause, every beat will have to be just right.
I've been seeing this librarian girl for a couple of years now. You see, her mum was from Liverpool, so I had to be really careful about doing Scouse jokes. You know, in case she nicked them.
The audience are unaware that they are timing Aaron, but that is exactly what each of them is doing.
I went out with an agoraphobic once. Was it you? Well, I say out. Hey, that's enough for me. Thank you very much. Good night.
So Aaron set up that lovely agoraphobia joke that we saw him do in the workshop, and unfortunately someone in the audience said something, and it just distracted him.
I went out with an agoraphobic once. Was it you? Well, I say out.
And that was enough to make the joke that we saw work really well in the afternoon just misfire on the night. And it's as simple as that. It's such a fine line.
It seems we all have a sense of time passing, and how much. Even in a completely empty environment, in the absence of any information, we still have this ability. It's like a sixth sense. So there's something going on inside of us, something in our mind that allows us to judge the amount of time passing. And scientists have asked the question, how do we do this?